guys, today I'm gonna be read on what parts of you trigger other people's egos, and like how that could have caused certain things to happen in the past that like couldn't really be explained, besides the other person being triggered, but you didn't really know why. So this is just the parts of you that you can't really control, that cause other people to react strongly out of their ego. So you can just understand what it is about you that makes other people's egos not only so angry but so easily triggered. But today we're gonna be using the Occult Tarot, the Demon Tarot deck, and the piles are gonna be pile 1 is this opalite. Pile 2 gonna be this rough rose quartz. This is the second rose quartz I got. And the third pile gonna be this black tourmaline. It's rough, but it's very smooth on the parts where it's flat. I don't know if you can tell. The like texture is very smooth. Okay, pile 1. If you chose this opalite, this is gonna be your reading on what parts of you trigger people's ego. So let's see. Let's see what we have here. Spirit, what parts of my pile 1? What parts of my pile 1 trigger people's ego? We have Temperance Crossel. It reads, teaches geometry and liberal sciences, makes great noises and warms water. Spirit, give me more information. What else triggers people's egos about pile 1? We have the Chariot, Andreas. One more card, Spirit, one more card. And what about pile 1 makes people's ego triggered? We have Four of Wands, person. The Chariot reading, sower of discord, slayer of men. Person reading, knows all things hidden, answers truly about things earthly or divine. Well, this is some serious energy. Well, it's two major arcana, the Temperance and the Chariot, which are both really balanced, which are both like about balance, and about maintaining balance, because they're both upright. And the Four of Wands here indicating like relationships. So this people getting triggered by their own ego by you happens in, it's going to happen almost every relationship, romantic or otherwise, because it's just a part of your relationships. Because with the Lion here, we could have Leo energy, and the reason that's part of your relationships is like people feel it's like your ego makes other people's ego triggered. Like if you're expressing yourself or trying to express affection or love in your own way or unique way, either towards yourself or to others, and like you're proud of yourself and you're like having pride in that, it makes other people's egos triggered. Um, and what's funny about this is it's like the stability of what you do triggers people, the way you express yourself and how you express affection in relationships. It's like, um, you have pride within yourself and your abilities, Pi One, because you know that you're a stable and balanced person, and that's what you bring to relationships. Um, which is true with the Chariot being here about balance, Temperance being about balance, and Four Wands being about stability in relationships, bringing that stability and that foundations. It's like people's ego gets triggered by seeing the balance that you continuously have in every situation, whether you're, no matter what emotion you're expressing or how intense you're being, um, and the stability of your words and the way you express yourself affectionately or seriously. It's like your words have a lot of stability and truth to them, because you're coming in with this balanced mindset. And but I'm not sure, like, that's a really good personal trait to have. I'm not sure why people would be triggered by that, especially in relationships. 4 on the clock. When I said that, those are traits you want to have, you want your person to have in a relationship, or your people to have, because stability and stable communication are like key parts to you know a relationship, a harmonious relationship anyway. um, I'm gonna break it down by just, I feel like the only reason people people's egos could be triggered by that part of you, um, is because these are people who are lacking some sort of stability within themselves, or are lacking some sort of balance in a facet of their life where they feel like they need it. Um, and so seeing you have that, um, either makes them feel like you do it so easily, how is it not that easy for them? Or um, it brings up past pain of their own mistakes and not being able to have that stability. Or it doesn't even, it's not even a conscious thought. It just like makes them feel uneasy, makes them feel like a wedge. There's a wedge between y'all because um, they just don't have that within themselves. Um, but subconsciously they know they need that, so it like creates this dissonance between you and them, because they sense that you have that, especially in the way you speak and the way you show affection, um, is very grounded, very logical, very balanced. um, which is how I feel like this so often happens, specifically in relationships and romantic relationships for you, Pi One, because it's like you are bringing stability to the table, you are bringing balance to the table, you're trying to keep things as equal give and take as possible, and it ends up highlighting where your partner doesn't have those balances, those same balances that you have. Like, you tend to um, be more emotionally mature than other people in most relationships. And when people feel those things highlighted about themselves when they're around you, when they feel those, like, that discord within themselves when they're around you, because they like feel that they don't have that, because they're in your presence and they feel that you have that, it's just like at first the relationship will be good, or at first the friendship will be good, and then like over time, this, you start to see like where the other person doesn't have balance. It's kind of hard to explain because it doesn't happen at first. People really like you at first because you have this balanced mentality and you have this clear, stable communication, and you tend to like have some good relationships at first. But it's like people's egos can get triggered, um, because of how much balance you bring to them, but they don't feel like they have that within themselves. Or it's like they'll start acting negatively, or even just showing patterns of their own imbalance towards you, simply by being around you in your balance. I don't know if that makes sense, but being around you and you constantly having balance, if somebody else is around you, they are the balance you have is going to be shining a light on any imbalances that they have. So that's just what happens each time. And the more these people spend time with you, the more they feel those things are highlighted. And if they're not working on that within themselves during y'all's relationship, if they aren't actively working on that, then over time their ego gets more and more triggered by you, or not really by you, but by their reaction of you. So people, you might have a lot of relationships where people will accuse you of like you making them feel like they're not good enough, or you could have people after being in relationships with you accusing you of being a manipulator or a completely unbalanced person, or just all of the things that lack balance, because it's like they're projecting that mindset of like unbalance onto you. It's like you're the one who is imbalanced, and that's why it was highlighted in me. It's not like the other way around. So yeah, I feel like your ability to have like that pure heart and keep that stability and bring that to the table, no matter what the situation is, intimidates people. It can make them feel a little bit insecure about themselves, maybe because they think that they aren't taking things seriously enough, maybe because they don't think they're being balanced enough. But it's like I can feel this energy where people feel insecure around you simply because they see you as being a grounded and mature person, which is maybe just something they want within themselves. What about you triggers people that you go with the Chariot here, and it being Andreas? And like, look, he's literally, look at that blood splattered from that sword. He just did some crazy, you know, he just cut some crazy bitch. And it's the Chariot, so he's moving forward on this path of light and balance. He doesn't care if you're gonna step in the way. That's your own problem. Like, you need to learn to not be in that path, because you need to be following that path as well. So it's like you're just staying in your path of light and balance, like the Chariot, conquering both light and dark and being able to use that to go towards your path. And people will step in the way of this, or it's like this energy where you're only being harsh because you're keeping the balance, or it's like people feel like you're being harsh or mean or something like that, simply because you're trying to keep the balance in the situation. Or people can feel like you trying to bring back balance to the situation, or you trying to correct something, or talk something out. They can feel like it's a personal attack, when you're just trying to balance things back out. They can feel like you deliberately are trying to do that to them. I'm also feeling like your anger, like if you express yourself in an angry way, you're like, my heart just like skipped a beat. Like, you're not the type of person to ever really do that, pile one. You're not the type of person to do that often, I guess you could say. You're only really super mean or angry or harsh when you're pushed to that. But when you are, it's really scary, because you're still in your balance, but you're bringing this intensity of truth that scares people. And I'm feeling like people's egos can be triggered by your anger, like you defending yourself, you defending the balance and the truth of the situation. People will feel so triggered like that, and being like, they're so harsh, they're so mean, I'm such a victim. But it's like, and they'll really be upset about that. They'll be like, how could pile one be so mean? They're so mean. It's like they're sitting in their heads like, they're so mean, they're so mean, how could they be so angry? But it's like them just being triggered, like their ego being triggered by you bringing that truth to the situation or balance to the situation. It's weird because it's like this relationship between your anger and your ability to keep balance and truth, that people are triggered by. Because it's not even necessarily anger, it's just harshness, it's just firmness and assertiveness. Like, it's like sometimes you gotta make sure that people aren't, you know, you gotta cut that shit out before it gets too crazy, gets too snowballing. Like, you're not the type of person to let things just keep going like that. You stop them exactly where you see them, where you see the imbalance. And even when you're not even being that harsh, people will just go crazy over it. They'll be like, oh my god, that was so mean, so mean. I don't know. Like, that's how triggered they get. It's just they can't stop looping that in their head about, like, just thinking about your anger in that moment. I'm also feeling you have, like, very divine energy. Like, you're channeling spirit very clearly. You just, because you're so balanced, you are able to channel spirit very clearly, and just the light in general, like clarity. And I'm feeling like, again, people will be intimidated by your groundedness and your emotional maturity because of this, especially in the way you speak and what you bring to the table. You're very logical, very intelligent, Pile 1. And people's egos will get triggered by this. They'll be like, how can Pile 1 be doing that? How can Pile 1 be better than me? It's like suddenly they see you as superior for some reason, simply because you're bringing clarity and you're being logical and you're just expressing your truth in the situation. But it makes a lot of sense and it's bringing a lot of clarity. Even if it's just like creative projects or in the workplace, you bring that same clarity, and just balance again. And so it's like people will get triggered because they'll be like, oh, Pile 1 thinks they're better than everyone else. Pile 1 thinks they're some divine thing, some God's child. Like, if you're open about your spirituality or religion, people will be like, oh, Pile 1 believes in that, Pile 1 this, Pile 1 that. It's like people think that you're better than everyone because of your ability to bring clarity and balance to the situation. Like, they see you doing that, and they think that because you have that groundedness and emotional maturity, it means that you're trying to, like, make everyone like you or something. It's a weird energy. But it's also this weird energy where it's like these same people who are getting triggered by you are, like, being triggered because they're like, they think you're superior. Like, they're sitting there, like, assessing you as a person, and because of these assessments they've made, they've put you on this pedestal. But it's also like, oh, Pile 1 thinks they can be up on that pedestal. Pile 1, who does Pile 1 think they are? But it's like, you never were on that pedestal to begin with. That was just in their own head. And this can especially come to spiritual teachings and spiritual subjects if you have, like, a spiritual platform, or you help people with those kinds of things, because people will see you as spiritually superior, or something like that, or have this idea about a spiritual ego, and it'll, like, trigger them, and they'll think, oh, Pile 1 thinks they're so divine and so connected to God, or I don't even know. It's like this energy of people comparing their spiritual journey to yours and then getting triggered by it. One more thing I'm seeing with this Four of Wands again here is, like, if you get into a relationship, people are watching y'all. Like, any relationship you've been in, there's been people watching you, being like, I don't know, the way you're able to, like, balance with a person or with other people makes all of your relationships look really harmonious and really like going with the flow. And so to other people, they're just like watching you because of that. Like social media stalking, things like that. It's like people will get triggered, their egos will get triggered by you being in a relationship. And this could probably be a lot of exes and such, I'm feeling, or old friends or family members. Like seeing you being happy or in a relationship, and they're just like, how could this happen? How could this happen? Because they see that stability, and it's like they're triggered by it. They're like, Pawan doesn't deserve that. Pawan's probably gonna break up with them in like a couple months. Pawan probably isn't even that happy with them, or sitting there trying to like pick apart every flaw of your relationship, when it's not even any of their business. Your relationship, they don't know anything about it. Or just like your ability to show affection not even just in a relationship, just to anyone, like, and bring that stability to a relationship no matter what it is, triggers people's ego. It's like they just see you as this like, oh my god, I just heard harlot in my head. It's like, because you're able to have that like true and honest affection, you're able to bring that stability to any relationships, so therefore you're probably able to create stability and create a relationship with anyone, because you're able to bring that to the table no matter who it is. But then people are like, oh, Pawan's a harlot, Pawan likes to sleep around, Pawan likes to fucking just use people and then drop them. It's like, yeah, I don't know. But that was your reading, Pawan. Hope you enjoyed. Hi, pile 2. You chose this rough up rose quartz. It's gonna be a reading on what parts you trigger other people's egos. So let's see. Gotta roll the dice. Spirit, give me energies on pile 2. Give me energies on pile 2. Oh, we already have our cards. Let's see. We have Gap, the Star. Six of Cups, Fornius. I'm not going to read these because there's more than 3. Rom, 3 of Swords. And Hagenti, Queen of Pentacles. Let's see. Okay, pile 1, or pile 2, my bad. Okay. So I'm sensing this is less like pile 1, in which this is a major part of like your life karma and your life path, and your destiny. And this is more like it just happens often. It's less like an important part of your life, or like part of you that changes you, and more like something that just happens to you a lot, probably because of the position you could be in the workplace, in your family. Really, it could be anything, but yeah, people just get triggered, and it's usually small things, but like people get triggered by you, their ego gets triggered. And for you, pile 2, it probably happens in a way where you can't explain it most of the time. Like, people just act weird around you and you don't know why, and it ends up happening a lot. So if you have some sort of following on social media, or just following in general, like you're popular, people's egos get triggered by that about you. With the star here, it's like people see you as a star, And it's like either some people are like, I want to be popular like that, I want to be famous like that. What's so good about that person? Why do they get to be? Why do they get to have those things? What makes them a star? Um, or it's like other people will see you as having like this quality about you, um, that makes you so interesting and makes you so mystical. It makes you just seem like otherworldly or larger than life. It's like this energy, it's so specific. It's like this energy where it's like that punk star, that famous actor that your girl has a big crush on, or your boyfriend has a big crush on. And then the partner of this person who likes this person so much is like jealous. They're like, what's so good about that person? They're saying they're comparing themselves. They're like, what's so good about, but like, you're this famous whoever person that is like a part of the equation, pal, too. Like, you're that person that other people's girlfriends be like, oh my god, and then they be all like, oh, my girlfriend likes you, and I feel inferior to you. um, um, yeah, and that's the kind of energy it is. Where it's like people will see you being so badass, so mystical, having this quality about you, and be like, how do they have that? Where does it come from? How can this happen? Why does my girlfriend like it so much? It's such a like silly trope, but I think you get what I mean. I don't know how to turn the brightness down on here. I think I've tried before and it didn't work. I just want you to actually be able to see the kaleidoscope. Um, Damn, this is an old OST. Yeah, I don't really know what to do. Sorry for getting distracted during your reading. With the Six of Cups, you're definitely embodiment of inner child energy. You're also very open and honest about your emotions. Like, you just express your emotions very clearly, in a very understandable way, like the way a child might, without really like regards to what other people feel or think. So I'm feeling like people's egos get triggered by this because they aren't okay with their own inner child, and they see you having that energy, and it's like they want to squash that because they have that same feeling. They have unhealed trauma within their inner child within themselves, so it's like they hate other people expressing childlikeness or being silly like that, or expressing emotions, without regard for other people, or just making mistakes like a child would. Um, it's like people's egos get triggered by you when they're like sitting there and being like, no, you have to be this way, you have to do this, you have to meet these expectations, you have to be an adult, you have to do that, you have to do this, you have to be rigid and logical and structured. And it's like the type of people that just put all these expectations on themselves and on other people, and never let themselves make mistakes, or they just can't accept the fact that they might not be perfect. It's like, um, the type of people who just can't accept imperfection within themselves get so triggered by you. Like, it's your, and it's your inner childness, it's your inner childlike energy and your ability to express emotions like that. without being like embarrassed or without it hurting your pride, that like makes people get onto you or makes people be like, why aren't you doing this correctly? Why aren't you doing this more perfect? When it just comes from an insecurity of like their own inner child and like expecting themselves to be better than. But you, especially creatively, pal, too, like you have a very bright inner child, and like it makes a lot of people happy. It inspires a lot of people because you just aren't afraid to express yourself like that. It's very beautiful. But the Three of Swords. So there's like a couple different energies. If any traumatic experience or relationship you've been through was like put on display for other people, or like had a large audience of people, even if they weren't directly involved with it, people's egos get triggered by your pain and your traumatic experiences. It's like, I don't know, it's like this energy pile too, where you could have gone something where you were ridiculed or something like that for having gone through a breakup or a relationship, or even for early childhood trauma that wasn't under your control. But you're the one getting ridiculed for it, and you're the one getting ridiculed for feeling pain over that, because these people's egos are triggered by the fact that you've been in pain. This could also be the energy of like parental figures causing you pain and not being able to accept that they're the problem, and so they keep being like, it's you're the problem, you're causing this within yourselves. It could also be parental figures who are like, pain is for the weak, pain is for why are you expressing pain, why are you expressing emotion? And this could also be the energy of like, if part of your creative projects or part of your workplace has to do with expressing emotion to other people, honest and vulnerable emotion, or giving advice that comes from honest emotion of like things you've been through and pain you've went through, and like you're using that pain as like a source to express these emotions and be able to like make that real and authentic and honest, it triggers people because it's very real. You express that pain very clearly and you mirror it perfectly, so that people's own traumas can get triggered. People can be mad at you for feeling pain and feel like you're weak for that because of their own thing about that, or they could like in turn feel disgusted by your display of emotion, or feel like want to turn away from it, or feel like it's gross because they aren't accepting of those own authentic emotions and honesty within themselves. They're afraid to express feelings of fear or hurt within themselves anywhere but inwards. So they get mad if somebody else does it outwards, expresses that hurt outwards, because they're like, no, you should bottle it all in. Why do you think that you get to express your pain when there's people out there that go through this, when I've been through this, it's like, whew. I feel like this is a major one for you, pal, too, is like people getting triggered by you and your pain and your ability to express honestly what you've been through, and advice, and how you've had to change because of that. It triggers a lot of people's egos, especially the type of people who would hurt somebody else in the same way that you've been hurt, or would be selfish enough to not notice that they're hurting somebody else like that. You trigger those people's egos a lot, because it's like they see that expression of pain, and it's like it just reminds them of all the times they've hurt people, but they've just repressed it and pretended like they were the victim, and it just makes them angry. It makes them angry at you. It makes them feel like you're a fake, or you're faking those emotions, or you're manipulating them by using those emotions, even if they aren't directly in contact with you, even if they're just watching you from afar and assuming things about your story. Queen of Pentacles. For some of you, your relationship with your mother triggers other people. I'm not going to elaborate beyond that. I feel like you'll understand what I mean, and that message isn't going to work for all of you, so I'm just going to stop it there. But also, I'm feeling like your motherly energy and your grounded earthly energy and your ability to make money because of how grounded and earthly you are, it triggers other people's ego. I feel like this is more about you having the ability to be wise and emotionally mature and come towards things with the same balanced mindset that a mother would come towards their own child who is in distress. You're just very caring and very willing to like be patient and wise and caring, and not only just be there and be patient and listen, but to help and give guidance afterward and guide people in a way that would actually help them. And you might not even do this through direct advice. You might do this creative projects. You might do this in like speaking out on a podcast, or just speaking out, being like, you might do like speeches like that in general. But this triggers people, I feel like, in a more complex way, because you have a good way of covering the entire ground of like the situation, the emotional situation, and what needs to be taught, what needs to be guided upon, what needs guidance. And you're very great at assessing that and really just getting everything down, all down to the nitty gritty. And because you're able to get it so complexly, on such a complex level, you touch people really deeply in really complex ways, like in parts of themselves where it's like you'd have to go through all of that complexity to be able to touch that part of themselves. And so people will be a little shocked or not ready to heal that to heal that lesson, or hear that lesson. They're just not ready to hear it, or they've just never heard it so accurately before to where it touched them the way they did. Like it touches them in a way where they feel like they can't look away from it, they have to address it. So yeah, it triggers people in the way that they feel like they have to address these complex emotional situation or imbalances within themselves that they weren't looking at, and they aren't ready to address those things, but now they can't look away from it. So either they move forward and they try to heal by themselves, or their ego gets triggered and they blame you for that. They blame you in that moment of like lesson teaching and be like, this was wrong, this was stupid, haha, what does that even mean? But like deep down they like can't stop thinking about it because they subconsciously need to address those things. You're definitely a teacher in this world, Pile 2. You're a teacher, especially about emotional situations and being able to move on from deep inner wounds and trauma, especially relationship trauma. Even if you aren't directly teaching or directly giving advice to people, the things you do in the world teach others. Even after you've already done them, years down the line, that you will still be teaching others with your actions and your words. But that is your reading, Pile 2. Hope you enjoyed. Okay, Pile 3. This gonna be a reading on what about you triggers other people. Chose this black tourmaline. The smooth black tourmaline. Spirit, give me some energy for Pile 3. What about Pile 3 triggers other people's ego? We have Citri, the Ace of Swords, We have Gusion, Three of Cups. And then we have the World, Vapula. This is a little concerning. This is a little confusing, concerning. It's a little... The energy here is definitely dark. When people's egos get triggered by you, it tends not to just be a small thing. Very dangerous things might actually end up happening because of that. For example, serious stalking, murder planning, suicide attempts, like serious stalking. Just serious things end up happening because people get triggered by you. It's like a good amount of people who do get triggered by you can end up obsessing over it and not letting it go for a very long time, and it actually snowballing into something further and darker. Even if they never get to directly affect you and hurt you the way they want to, they end up hurting other people in their lives or causing their own damage to themselves in their lives or in their workplace. Yeah, a lot of damage comes from people getting triggered, from people's egos being triggered by you. I feel like this is karmically meant to happen. Like, this was set up by the universe. Like, you were put in a specific position where you're meant to trigger a lot of people in certain ways where they can't really touch you after they've been triggered by you, but it affects their own karmic cycles within their own lives in a significant way. So, the Ace of Swords. Feeling like this has to do with the way you talk. You don't speak much, but you say what needs to be said, and the things you say, which are all exactly what needs to be said in that moment, and always the truth. So, this triggers people, obviously, by not being able to handle the truth, and you do it in such a serious way that is exactly the truth that people can't escape it, which is why they can end up being so obsessed by you even later on, because it's like a truth that they can't escape. But it's like specifically the way you deliver these lines triggers people's ego, because they're like, it's like this energy where these people think you're so cool or so well spoken that they like or they hear those truths you have to say, and it hits them right there. But instead of them being grateful for getting that hit, you know, they're like, ugh, truth. It's like if somebody just stabbed them. And these people who get triggered by the things you say and how you say it tend to see you as like a dark person. I'm hearing they're working with the devil, they're a narcissist, they're an energy vampire, like serious, what's the word? What's that thing when you like separate somebody else from you and make them different, so they're like, oh, this person's different from me? It's like people just classify you as like not as good as them, not the same as them, because you bring this truth to the table and they're scared of that. It's like, especially the way you talk. It's like the way you talk to people. It's like you leave no room for talking back. You leave no room for people to bring their own bullshit into the situation or into your life. There's there's no room for it. And so people go crazy because they're like, oh, I want to put these shadows onto pile 3. I want them to do this. I want them to experience this weirdness I feel from them. It's like people don't have access to you at that point because you don't give this access to anybody. You say what needs to be said and you leave. You do your part and you're done. You don't really have much of an ego, pile 3. Like you're here to do your part and that's it. You're a very humble person, and that's precisely what keeps you so protected from these spiritual attacks and energy attacks of these people wanting to project their mindset onto you. Because it's like this energy of like, you're spreading the truth, pile 3, and these people are like, it's darkness, it's darkness, it's darkness. This person's trying to put shadows, trying to ruin the world, trying to sow seeds of evil into the world. And meanwhile, it's just the truth, but it's the truth they can't accept, so they think it's darkness. Or they're in the dark about it. But spirit doesn't give them access to you because they're meant to learn that karmic cycle on their own. Yeah. So just say what you want to say, pile 3. Like, go on YouTube, say what you want. Go on a podcast, say what you want to say. Walk up to anyone and say what you want to say, because you always say exactly what needs to be said and then dip out. It's just always so perfect. Like, you really make it immaculate each time, so you could, like, do a podcast or something and people would eat that shit up. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't be afraid to go out there and express your truth and your opinion, pile 3. But the 3 of Cups. First of all, I'm feeling like a lot of people want to be your friend. Like, a lot of people want to be your friend. A lot of people want to be friendly with you. You're not having it, pile 3. You're not that kind of person to just be friends with anyone. Believe it or not, you have standards. Especially since your energy is very rare and not everybody deserves to be near that. Like, not everybody should have the privilege. You know what I mean? But seriously, you've had, like, I keep seeing past, because it's like tells of the past, present, and the future on here. I keep looking at the past and I keep thinking about the friends, and I'm like, past friends. It's definitely, you got some past friends, got some ex-friends, pile 3, who are triggered. Rah! Like, it's like, I'm thinking of like when a video gamer or streamer loses a game and they're just like going crazy, being like, oh my god, I lost the game. It's just childish energy like that. But it's intense. It's like that intense anger of just like flying around and not being able to control yourself and just screaming. But it's also a sort of attention seeking, because that like streamer vibe of like wanting people to watch you. And I'm not to say like streamers are all attention seeking because they want people to watch them. It's like to say it's the type of anger that you're just putting on so much display because you have all these people here watching you. So there's a lot of ego having to do with why these people are triggered by you, however the relationship ended or however the friendship was. I can already sense you're not the type of person to like do something that would end a friendship, you know what I mean? Like, you're doing your own thing and you're letting other people do their own thing and you're being supportive of that as long as they're supportive of you. So I'm feeling like most of these ex-friends are salty from losing their friendship with you because of something that they did, but they're sitting there like, no, pile 3's the narcissist, pile 3's the energy vampire. There's so many people wanting to be like, pile 3's a narcissist, energy vampire, black demon, whatever. Like, bro, what? Bro? I swear to God, Pal 3, there's some people who like think that they're spiritually um high ranking or something, or they experience themselves as some sort of angel or divine being, and they literally see their dynamic with you, even though y'all might not even talk to this person anymore. They see their dynamic with you as like an angel fighting a demon. Like I'm literally seeing the statue of like Gabriel like about to spear a demon who's all like this. um that's how these people be seeing you. They're like, I'm so much superior than this person. This person is just the devil to be conquered, the devil to be killed. Like, bro, you good? I don't know. Like, these are some unstable, like, spiritually, religiously unstable people. Um, you know what's funny? Even in just your daily life when you're walking around, Pile 3, maybe it's the way you dress or something, or just like your aura when you walk around, but like Christians will look at you, like these crazy Christians will look at you and be like, he's the devil. They're literally the devil. They are literally the devil. Look at them. They're a literal demon. Oh my god. I mean, it happens more often than you think. That's funny as fuck. But anyway, yeah, these ex friends. I don't think I even have to explain this to you, but like if you have those ex friends that you know ruin their relationship with you, they are still triggered, still in their ego about it. I want to know, like, oh my god, they're literally sitting there being like, ugh, I'm having a hard time with this karmic cycle. I'm having a hard time with so and so. I'm having a hard time in my life because of Pile 3, because of what Pile 3 did to me. After our relationship, everything was ruined. Everything was ruined. It's like the ultimate projection thing of like, you're the reason why I'm lacking. You're the reason why I don't have abundance. Yeah, it's like the religious thing where it's like, you're the devil, you're a demon, you're the reason that everything in the world is messed up. You're literally the embodiment of evil, and I'm an angel, so I must kill you to make everything better. Like, burn the witch. She's the witch, she's the embodiment of the darkness. Burn her, and all of our sins will be forgiven, we'll all be saved. It's like that type of just craziness mentality. Just complete off the rails, no stable reasoning. But yeah. These ex friends are stuck in the past because I can't stop looking at the word past on this card. And it's like, these ex friends are stuck in the past. Like, social media stalking to the point where it's like, do you have a crush on me? Do you want to fucking kiss or something? Like, why are you on my page every fucking day? Like, people's egos get triggered by you because they like you, but they also don't want to think, oh my god, it's like somebody being attracted to the devil and being like, no, I can't be attracted to the devil. But it's like, they like you because they like you, but then at the same time they're like, no, I can't like them because they're inferior to me. Bro, get a grip. Oh my god. Anyway, the world here, bitch, you are popping. I don't even know how to explain this, but you got the whole package and a bag of chips, Pile 3. Like, you are everything. Whew. You got the whole package. And like, whatever your life path is, whatever your destiny is, you're really changing shit. Like, you're really bringing something to the table. Like, you're a really cool fucking person. And people's egos get triggered just because they don't have anything going on. They're not really doing anything. They're not following their dreams. So they see you and they're like, this person looks fulfilled. This person looks like they're enjoying their life or going after what they want. And they're like, ugh, why not me? Oh my god. But yeah, it's like, you're the type of person everybody looking at you and everybody knows you're $1,000,000. Everybody knows you're going places. And so they're all salty. They're like, oh, why can't I do that? Like, other people can do that. They have the ability to do that. But instead they're like just looking at you and being like, oh, they're fulfilled. They're fulfilled. They have it all. They have it all. Yes, they do have it all. Pile 3 does have it all. I mean, you could too, but that's up to you, you know. So yeah, but it's like, yeah, people's egos just get triggered because they're like, Pile 3 has it all. They're fulfilled. They're $1,000,000. They're going places. Probably gonna be famous. Everybody likes them. Like, yeah. It's just people perceive you as being like worth more, priceless. Like I was about to say worth more than gold, worth more than diamonds, worth more than it, but it's like priceless. It's like people know you have that thing about you that can't be replaced. You have that inner confidence, that fulfillment with, like, you are a fulfilled person, Pile 3. You feel whole within yourself. You bring that wholeness not only to your own life, but to wherever room you're walking into, to your workplace, to your family. And you aren't letting anybody have a dime of your energy. You give what you need and you take what you need, and that's it. And that's why it just seems everybody thinks you're so perfect, or you just seem so perfect to other people, because you have that, you have that down. You're solid in that regard of like wholeness that a lot of people spend their whole lives looking for or searching outside of themselves for. So that is your reading, Pile 3. I hope you enjoyed.